Hello everyone. So in the last lecture we had taken up the topic of money laundering, and we had discussed what are the various economic, social and political impacts of this activity of money laundering, and what money laundering is all about, what are the different stages, or you can say different stages in which money laundering is done. Okay, there is small level money laundering, also high level money laundering, and also which involves high level or high rank criminal activities also, and what kind of criminals engage in the activity of money laundering, basically to hide their source of black money and to show it as white money. And narco traffickers, corrupt leaders or transnational organized criminals are the main categories of criminals who indulge in this activity of money laundering. So, in this lecture, we will then, after studying all the various layers of money laundering and what is their motive, what are the common avenues for money laundering in India, basically, what do we mean by Hawala transactions, or how shell companies are formed by these money launderers in order to show their money and their transactions as as legitimate transactions. Then everything we had studied, how the use of internet is leading to increase in the money laundering activities, okay, by using of such mediums such as bitcoins and all. So we studied everything related to the fundamentals of money laundering and what kind of activities are involved in it. Then what is the economic impact, okay, of money laundering, how because most of the money laundering activities involve evasion of tax, okay, because it is an illegal money, so obviously the criminal would never would want to pay a tax out of it. So if you are evading tax funds which is available to the government, so obviously then what the government it has a very negative impact on the economy, because obviously tax funds are decreasing. Then legitimacy of private sector is also reduced, because a lot of private and other shell companies are misused by these money launderers to carry out their operations. Then financial markets का भी loss होता है, because consumer का confidence गिरता है, because those financial institutions are then used by these money launderers to carry out the activity. Then obviously international जो investors होते हैं उनका भी कहीं ना कहीं ट्रस्ट लूज होता है एक पर्टिकुलर कंट्री के ऊपर, इफ देयर इज लॉट ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्टिविटी विच इज गोइंग ऑन, सो इंटरनेशनल इन्वेस्टर्स का ट्रस्ट भी लूज होता है। ये इस तरीके का। फिर ऑब्वियसली वी सॉ द सोशल इम्पैक्ट ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग, ऑब्वियसली इट इज एक्चुअली giving the control of economy in the hands of criminals. Okay, it is actually leading to, actually the criminals are getting hold of an economy, and that is why we saw that how a parallel black money economy is actually running parallel to the mainstream economies. Obviously criminals are getting hold of the economy, and obviously misallocation होते हैं resources के, and obviously there's a lot of job and lots of job and unemployment also, because if there are such private firms or companies who are engaged in money laundering activities, then how will they generate employment for the citizens? Obviously, okay. Then we saw the political impact also, that there's a nexus which is going on between the politicians and these money launderers or criminals in one way or the other, and that is what is leading to the criminalization of politics, because even whenever the elections are fought or such things are done, there's a lot of use of this black money in elections in India, and this is how what leads to criminalization of politics, because there's a very growing nexus between the politicians and these money launderers. So these are the various impacts that we had studied. Then we had a look on the legal framework which is present in India to deal with the problem of money laundering, in which we first of all studied these three laws, and the main or the core framework to deal with the money laundering issue in India is the PMLA, and उसके अंदर हमने देखा कि उसके क्या provisions होते हैं, फाइन को बढ़ा दिया गया है, and even there is a concept, provision of confiscation of any property which is involved in money laundering activity. Then we saw the work of enforcement directorate. It is actually to investigate the offences of money laundering under the framework of your PMLA of 2002. Then what is Financial Intelligence Unit? So FIUIND India, Financial Intelligence Unit India branch, was set up by the Government of India as the Central National Agency It is one of the central national agency which is responsible for receiving, processing, analyzing, and disseminating information related to suspect financial transactions. So basically, FIUIND is keeping a watch on all such suspicious financial transactions that may be, involved in the chain of money laundering. It is responsible for coordinating and strengthening the efforts of national and also international agencies. Okay, because we see that this money laundering activity is not just confined to one nation, it is a cross border problem. It is a cross border problem, and these money launderers and these criminals who are engaging in the activity of money laundering, they are also maintaining international offshore bank accounts, and they are doing international financial transaction also. So if we maintain an intelligence coordination between such nations where these financial transactions is happening, then the two governments of those two countries can coordinate and can help track these illegal transactions. Okay, investigation and enforcement agencies also, that is FINU, is maintaining coordination with international agencies also, investigation and enforcement agencies also, even at the international level, pursuing the global efforts against money laundering and related crimes. FIUIND is an independent body reporting directly to the Economic Intelligence Council, which is headed by the Finance Minister. So it is one of the important, organization against money laundering in India. Then, international cooperation, that is because we saw that money laundering is not a problem which is just confined to a particular nation. It is a cross-border phenomenon. It is a worldwide phenomenon, and we have seen also the estimate by the IMF that at present money laundering forms 3 to 5% of the worldwide GDP. So obviously we have to also study that what are the efforts which are taken on an international level as far as fighting the problem of money laundering is concerned. So FATF is a very important organization, and it is an intergovernmental organization that it is actually working to establish cooperation between different governments. Okay, established to set standards and promote effective implementation of legal, regulatory, and operational measures for combating money laundering. And obviously, money laundering is activity is done, and it plays a major role in terrorist financing operations also, or creating a problem of economic terrorism. So it is the one agency which is also dealing with the problem of terrorist financing apart from money laundering and other related threats to the integrity of international financial system. Formed in 1989 by the G7 summit, okay, FATF is a policy making body also, and it works with governments to bring about national legislation and regulatory reforms in these areas. So basically, it will provide inputs and recommendations to the various governments of the world to come out with suitable national legislations and regulatory reforms in the areas of money laundering and terrorist financing, etc. Okay, FATF, what it does, it actually passes recommendations. It has developed a series of recommendations that have become global standards, because if any country has to form a national legislation to fight with the problem of money laundering, then at least those particular provisions or legislation should comply with the FATF recommendations, because FATF is thorough with the problem of the money laundering on an international level. It is studying the problem on an international level, and it is giving operational inputs to the various governments of the world to pass national legislation to fight with this problem. So the national legislations which are formed whether in India or any other country should comply to these FATF recommendations, because they are of global standards. Okay, and terror financing as well as proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. FATF means even FATF is also recommending measures to fight against the problem of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and all also. FATF activities, so it monitors its member countries on the progress they have made in implementing reform measures related to money laundering, and also reviews their countermeasures to money laundering and terror financing. Decision making body of FATF is called FATF plenary. Now FATF actually comes out with a particular kind of a list which you can call as FATF blacklist, wherein it categorizes or lists those countries who are non-cooperating as far as the implementation of anti-money laundering activities are concerned. So officially called the non-cooperative countries or territories, NCCTs. The FATF blacklist is a list of countries which the FATF considers to be non-cooperative. in the international fight against terrorist financing and money laundering. Now, this list is regularly updated. Now, what is actually the objective of creating such blacklists and all? Because see, since the problem of money laundering is not confined to any one country, and since it is a worldwide problem, if there is one country like supposedly Pakistan who is non-cooperative in the fight and who is actually promoting terrorist financing and money laundering activities, this will actually hamper not just the security situation in Pakistan, because Pakistan is doing all this indirectly to somehow affect the security situation of India. So if there is one or two countries who are non-cooperating, and if they are included in the blacklist by the FATF, by an internationally recognized organization, is putting the name of that country in its blacklist, then that will somehow create an international pressure on that country to give up such activities. Because if that particular country is indulging in money laundering and terrorist financing activities, it will not only impact its own security situation, but it will also hamper the security situation of some other country. Like, for example, in case of Pakistan, it is indulging in all this to somehow impact the internal security situation of India by the creation of such proxy and terrorist organizations or proxy groups through which it is promoting cross border terrorism in India. So this kind of a blacklist will somehow create an international pressure on those countries who are indulging in such money laundering and these activities. So that is why this blacklist is important. Every year it is regularly updated. So even the other countries of the world are aware of those countries who are non-cooperating, and obviously then other countries of the world, after seeing a name of a particular country in FATF blacklist, they will be very careful in dealing with those countries as far as economic and other political engagements are concerned. So this is a very important step, or international, you can say, kind of an international cooperative step, basically to build an international pressure on those countries who are engaging in such money laundering and terrorist financing activities. Some names are not on the list because of their non-cooperative stance, but also because they lack the necessary infrastructure and mechanisms to engage in this fight. Now, FATF countries or FATF members, there are 38 member countries. India is a member of the organization. You must remember this. Since June 2010, India is a member of FATF. That is, that we have shown throughout this gesture that we are very active in this fight against money laundering and such other activities. It had earlier acquired observer status also. Now, FATF observers are two in number at present: Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, and 38 are its present member countries, out of which India is also a part or a member of FATF since June 2010. So, moving forward, now the next important international organization dealing with this problem is Asia Pacific Group on Money Laundering. This organization also works to ensure that all countries adopt and implement the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing standards that are set out in the FATF's 40 recommendations. Okay, APG assists countries in implementing laws to deal with the crime. It provides assistance. It sets out the standards for punishment, investigations, and it provides guidance in setting proper reporting systems. At present, there are 41 members of APG, and of these, 11 countries are the members of also of the head of FATF. So you can note down the names of the countries who are part of this Asia Pacific Group on Money Laundering. So it is also one of the international organizations working in the same domain, and it is actually one which is helping, or you can say, telling the countries to follow the FATF recommendations only. Okay. Now we will discuss one of the most important interrelated topics of money laundering, which is money laundering and terrorism financing. Because apart from the other anti-national activities, and apart from the other dangerous criminal activities which is being carried out at present in the world because of the problem of money laundering, terrorism financing is one of the most important, which is having a very bad impact on the security situation of the world. And obviously, terrorism is also a cross border, you can say, an international global problem. It is not just confined to any one country or any one nation. And this money laundering is also not a very, it's money laundering is also not, you can say, a problem which is confined to one nation. We have seen that it is a global problem. So, if you consider about like what is the linkage between money laundering and terrorism financing. So terrorism financing is working, it is at present, it is active, or this problem is prevalent only because somehow it is linked to the money laundering only. Okay, so what is terror financing? Terror financing involves providing finance or financial support to individual terrorists or non-state actors. Okay, because these terror groups, how they are functioning only because they are getting finance or funds for their illegal activities. Okay, and FATF, जैसे हमने पढ़ा FATF organization के बारे में, so FATF report on terrorism financing noted the importance of links between financial tools and wider counter-terrorist activity to combat terrorist financing. तो FATF ने जो रिपोर्ट दी थी उसमें भी यही बताया था कि कितना important link है between the financial tools, or you can say the financial sector, and the counter-terrorist activities. So, what is actually money laundering? It is the process of concealing the illicit origin or proceeds of crimes. Funds are always of illicit origin as far as money laundering is concerned. Only then you are trying to hide the original identity. Whereas what is terrorist financing? It is the collection or provision of funds for terrorist activities or purposes. Funds in the case of terrorist financing can also stem from both legal and illicit sources. Both legal, as in there are some Islamic countries who are, supporting the jihadist ideologies and Islamic fundamentalism. They are deliberately providing funds to these terror outfits or militant outfits to promote terrorism or militancy. So अगर उस तरीके से आप कंसिडर करोगे, so if the countries are themselves helping the terror groups and such militant outfits, then that collection of funds or source of funds would be considered legal. And illicit sources will be the funds which are collected from money laundering activities, or you can say drug trafficking, or illicit human trafficking and other such illegal activities. You can say development of weapons, and you can outsourcing of dangerous arms and weapons and ammunitions. How these terrorist organizations are gaining access to such huge amounts of funds through these illicit sources only, which could be ranging from drug trafficking, or you can say by development of illegal arms and weapons, or you can say human trafficking, kidnappings, or other type के high rank criminal and other kinds of terrorist activities करके ये funds इकट्ठा करते हैं. And they can also get funds from both legal way also. Legal way will be only one way, where other Islamic and other such countries who are supporting Islamic fundamentalism and jihadism, they are supporting these terror outfits by providing direct funds to them. So that will be a source of legal money for the terrorist organization. Primary goal of individuals or entities who are involved in terrorism financing is therefore not necessarily to conceal the sources of money, but to conceal both the funding activity also and the nature of the funded activity. Obviously, they would never want that the funds, what is the use or purpose of the funds that they are creating, because they are utilizing the funds for what activity, they will never want to show that. So basically, the linkage is that not all money laundering is for terror financing, but most of the terror financing जो किया जाता है, ठीक है, most of the terror financing is coming from the activities of money laundering only. But money laundering will be used not just for terror financing purposes; it might be used for other purposes also, that we have discussed in the previous, that what could be your motive. Your motive could be tax evasion also, and your motive could be economic fraud also. Your motive could be drug trafficking or any other such activity. You might indulge in the activity of money laundering to evade taxes also, to do any kind of economic fraud also. So money, all not all money laundering is for terror financing purposes, but most of the terror financing activities are linked to the money laundering activities. Okay, now here will be there will be this one unit table in which you will understand the differences between the activities of money laundering and terrorist financing. But ultimately, you have to try to establish a linkage between the two activities. Okay, so what is the motivation behind money laundering? Obviously, it is profit seeking and to hide or conceal the sources of illegal or black money. Whereas terrorist financing का जो motivation होता है, it is always ideological, because we know that these terror outfits are based on some or the other kind of ideology, whether it could be left wing ideology also, right wing also, or other kind of extremist ideology like jihadis and all such kind of ideology. So terror this thing जो terrorist financing होगी, it will always be ideological. इसका जो basic होगा या motivation होगा terrorism financing का, it is always ideological. Whereas motivation behind money laundering activities could be any kind. It is mainly revolving around seeking profits so that you can conceal the origin of sources of your black money and show it as white money so that you are not caught by the government authorities and you can develop as much as profit as you want from the illegal criminal activities. Intention of money laundering is to clean ill-gotten gains or dirty money so that they appear to be proceeds from legal activities. Whereas terrorist financing का क्या intention होता है? To intimidate a population, that is to create fear or to compel the government or an international organization to do or abstain from doing any specific act through the threat of violence. Basically terrorism की जो ideology होती है वही ideology terrorist, वही intention terrorist financing का भी होगा. ठीक है, जो ideology या जो motivation इसका होता है या जो intention terrorist का होता है, is this only to create fear in a population or to compel the government of some other country or any other country to do the act what they want, the terrorists want them to do. Sources of funding for money laundering could be extortion, kidnapping, narcotics trafficking, smuggling. Smuggling could be of drugs, smuggling could be of cash, of illegal fake currencies, or smuggling could also be of illegal arms and weapons. Then fraud, any kind of economic fraud, theft, robbery, identity theft, improper use of charitable or relief funds. So these could be the sources of funding for money laundering. Whereas what could be the sources of funding for terrorist financing? Extortion, kidnapping, narcotics trafficking, smuggling, fraud, theft, improper use of this. Okay, where the donor would not have knowledge that their donations have been diverted to support terrorist causes. Legitimate sources for terrorist financing would be charitable donations or foreign government sponsors होते हैं. ठीक है, there are various kind of governments who are sponsoring terrorism. So their funds could be considered as legitimate sources because they are not acquired illegally. The government is deliberately sponsoring such kind of terrorist activities and so is providing funds to these groups. Then business ownership also, these terrorist organizations may establish their own business also and then gain funds out of that and personal employment का भी use कर सकते हैं. Methods for money laundering we have seen placement, layering and integration के stages होते हैं. Same होते हैं for terrorist activities also, but then they are using that laundered money for their other ulterior purposes. What is the life cycle for money laundering? So basically it would be funding generate करी कोई भी sources से, किसी भी illegal activities से जो हमने यहाँ पे discuss करी उसके through वो funds generate करते हैं and then they place that fund in the formal economy. Then उस funds के layering होता है various complex transactions करके and then उसको दोबारा से integrate कर दिया जाता है mainstream economy में and then उसको use किया जाता है. Similarly, the life cycle for terrorist financing is that obviously they would generate funds out of any of these activities that could be legitimate also, wherein even a particular government is deliberately supporting terrorist groups, or it could be illegitimate also by indulging any one of these kinds of activities of smuggling, trafficking, economic fraud, theft, robbery, कुछ भी करके. Then they are generating the funds, terrorist financing. Then they are obviously indulging in placement, layering, integration. Ultimately, they are, when after this entire money which is gone through all these stages is finally laundered, that particular laundered money, when it is used for any kind of terrorist activity, then that process is called as a terrorist financing. So मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग का ही यूज करा है, लॉन्डर्ड मनी का ही यूज करा है, बट देन इट इज यूज्ड फॉर अल्टीरियर पर्पसेस एंड दैट अल्टीरियर पर्पस in this case is to indulge in any kind of terrorist activity. So that is called as terrorist financing. So this is how we have established kind of a link between the activity of money laundering and terrorist financing, and at one point we have also seen that what are the differences between both of the two. Now, what are the suggestions as far as this entire to fight the problem of money laundering? What are some of the very you can say common suggestions that we can include in our answer while we are attempting a question money laundering is that there is a need for more strict laws related to any anti-money laundering, because we have seen the various legal provisions, legal frameworks, international cooperation also to deal with the problem, but that problem is still present. Okay, the terrorists are still getting funds for their terrorist activities. a lot of criminals are still flourishing in the economy and carrying out their ulterior purposes. So everything is still happening. It's not over yet. Obviously, the problem is still there. So therefore, there is a need for more strict laws because money laundering tends to corrupt even the most professional players in the market. There is a need to sensitize the private sector about their role in anti-money laundering activities, obviously, because if the private players don't they make their laws in such a way that the private companies are not involved in any anti-money laundering. Obviously, that would go a long way in solving this problem. Continuous upgradation and dissemination of information. You have to create an architecture where the information dissemination is very easy in the country. Intergovernmental groups बनाने चाहिए. They also take action against rising levels of global money laundering. Obviously, because it's a global problem and not just a local problem. So इंटर गवर्नमेंटल ग्रुप्स होने चाहिए. अगर supposedly हम ये identify कर पाते over a period of time that these are two countries which are somehow the and money laundering groups are cooperating between some. There will be few countries जिनके बीच में coordination बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा होगा between any two terror groups or between any two money laundering groups. So with those countries should come up and they should form intergovernmental groups so that better cooperation हो सके to fight against this problem. Promotion of Basel Committee on Banking Regulations adopted a statement of principles that targeted money laundering. So that this should be adopted. Basel Committee के जो banking regulations के recommendations है. Promotion of the Vienna Convention, which is creating an obligation for signatory states to criminalize the laundering of money from drug trafficking. Okay, that is पूरा criminalize कर दो इस particular activity को. This is what the Vienna Convention says, and that should be promoted. Promote a regional approach to address problems, develop and maintain strategic relations with other organizations for prevention, investigation, and prosecution of offenders. Cooperation takes the form of extradition. Okay, of extradition, we know that whenever this particular criminal or any such person who is or any such group who is engaging in money laundering or tax evasion or any such kind of illegal activity, it actually is able to cross the border and reach some other country, for example. So extradition laws wo hote hain to then arrest or prosecute that person even if that person has left the territory of the country in which he has engaged in any kind of money laundering activities. So extradition laws जो हमारे हैं different countries के साथ उनको strengthen करना पड़ेगा. Like for example अभी जो विजय माल्या का केस चल रहा है in which he has he was involved in a very high rank economic fraud activity in our country. He fled to UK. तो यूके के साथ अगर हमारे एक्सट्राडिशन लॉज स्ट्रेंथन होंगे या हमारे एक्सट्राडिशन लॉज स्ट्रॉन्ग किए जाएंगे सो देन वी विल बी वेरी successful in prosecuting such offenders, in prosecuting such economic offenders like Vijay Mallya और ललित मोदी. इनके केसेस बहुत prominent है आजकल, बहुत न्यूज में रहते हैं. But we are not able to somehow extradite or we are not able to punish them. Why? Because कहीं ना कहीं हमारे जो extradition laws हैं particular countries के साथ वो इतने strong नहीं है. Because they have left the territory and they are now settled in UK, तो वहाँ के laws different है Indian laws से. और वो जो लॉज में क्लैशेस होते हैं उसकी वजह से कहीं ना कहीं इसका एडवांटेज उन इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स को होता है. तो हमारे एक्सट्राडिशन लॉज पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज के साथ बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग होने चाहिए सो दैट वी आर एबल टू प्रोसिक्यूट सच इकोनॉमिक offenders or those people who are indulging in economic frauds. Mutual legal assistance का provisions होनी चाहिए. Transfer of sentenced person and criminal proceedings and law enforcement का cooperation होना चाहिए law enforcement agencies के बीच में, ताकि ये जो क्रिमिनल्स हैं जो अपना टेरिटरी छोड़ के किसी और कंट्री में जाके वहाँ पे शेल्टर लेते हैं उनको भी प्रोसिक्यूट करके एक प्रॉपर टाइम फ्रेम के अंडर ऐसे इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंसेस को सॉल्व किया जा सके. बिकॉज विजय माल्या का केस चल तो बहुत दिन से रहा है एंड इवेंचुअली वन डे और द अदर जस्टिस वुड बी डन, बट इफ इट इज डिलेड अ लॉट देन there is no use because the extent of economic fraud that he has indulged in that has to be solved as soon as possible, क्योंकि जितना टाइम लगेगा उतना ज्यादा ही जो नुकसान है वो कहीं ना कहीं इकोनॉमी को झेलना पड़ेगा. To curb terror financing, deny all forms of support for terrorist groups which the countries on their part can do, because we have seen that these terror groups they also get legal funds from some governments who are sponsoring terrorism. So that should not be the case. Cooperate with other countries in criminal investigations and share information about planned terrorist attacks. Basically, it is the share of intelligence. Okay, so if you are sharing information and intelligence with one another, then that would go a long way in somehow breaking the chain of these terrorist acts, because the countries themselves are cooperating with each other and sharing intelligence, required intelligence. So obviously, governments of the world, they will be one step ahead of the terrorist outfits, obviously, because we have more resources in our hand, we have more expertise in our hand to deal with these terrorist organizations or terrorist groups. Still we somehow lack or itna intelligence gathering or sharing नहीं हो पाता है. That is why these terrorist groups are successful in doing what they are doing. So basically, these are some of the common suggestions to fight against the problem of money laundering and terrorist financing. And ये कुछ somehow ये कुछ international provisions भी हैं, like Basel Committee के and Vienna Convention जो एक international convention है. तो इस तरीके की चीज़ों को अगर हम अपने कंट्री में, because we saw that money laundering and terror financing are not local problems, global problems हैं, तो global problems के लिए global solutions भी हैं जो international level पे agreed solutions हैं, and we have to implement them in our country so that we can fight the problem of money laundering and terror financing. So this was all about the problem of money laundering and what is the legal framework to fight with money laundering and its associated activities. What is a terrorist financing? How it is linked to the problem of money laundering? How it is different from money laundering, and everything we had discussed in this this part of our lecture. So our next topic that we will be taking in our lecture will be the basics of cyber security and the cyber security threats and the problem of cyber security and the challenges to internal security situation of our country because of the problem of cyber security. So this will be the next part of this lecture which we will be taking up. So sorry for a little bit of interruption in between. I was just switching over to the next slides. So basically now in the last part of our this lecture we had studied about the problem of money laundering and everything associated to what is the international and national level steps which are being taken to fight the problem of money laundering, and certain common suggestions that we had seen in the end, that what actually needs to done if you want to fight this problem in a holistic manner. Now we would begin with the problem of cyber security or the cybersecurity, and you can say the kind of internal security situation which is being created to because which is being created due to the threats to cyber activity in India. So basically, what is cyber? Cyber security is anything related to anything or any kind of security which you can say is related to internet. In very simple terms, you have to understand that cyber threats are the threats which are emanating from the use of ICT. And ICT is information and communication technology. And basically, the kind of, because everyone at some level or the another is aware of this problem. Okay, you might not be aware with the problem of money laundering and other such security issues topics that we have taken before this, but you must have heard about this problem and the cyber threats which are happening at such a irregular interval. And it's not that these cyber threats are just attacking large organizations or companies or governments. They are also affecting individual internet security. They are also affecting individuals. Also, there are a lot of cyber threats which happen at the individual level also, जहाँ पे even the normal individual like you and me might we face a threat of cyber, from at cyber friend every day, because we are all using internet these days, and everything is so much dependent on the internet. Even our personal information and lot of personal data is stored in the internet, whether it is in the form of government utilities or any such activity or any such, or even our private जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन होती है या डाटा होता है, वो सब कुछ इतना ज़्यादा डिजिटलाइज हो चुका है कि साइबर threats or cyber security का domain is like one of the most important threats that we face at present, not just the government or the government organizations, even the individuals. So we will be studying about this, but basically यहाँ पे जो हमारा motive होगा will be to study the challenge of cyber security as far as the internal security situation of India is concerned. So our main focus would not be the cyber security threats that we face on an individual level, जो हैकिंग फिशिंग वगैरह के थ्रू ये एक्टिविटीज के थ्रू, या जो एक होता है ना कि कभी कभी साइबर थ्रेट्स आल्सो टेक द फॉर्म ऑफ इंडिविजुअल बुलिंग, दैट देयर माइट बी सम पर्सन हु इज ट्राइंग टू समहाउ थ्रेटन यू इंडिविजुअली। तो वो जो चैलेंजेस होते हैं जो इंडिविजुअल फ्रंट पे हम फेस करते हैं, वो उनपे हमारा फोकस नहीं होगा। बेसिकली यहाँ पे हम वो ब्रॉडर साइबर सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस के साथ डील करेंगे जो नेशनल लेवल पे सिक्योरिटी को हार्म करते हैं, दैट इज दे आर हैम्परिंग द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी ऑफ इंडिया। तो इंडिया के बेसिस पे हम स्टडी करने की कोशिश करेंगे कि नेशनल लेवल पे ऐसे कौन से साइबर सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट्स हैं विच आर अफेक्टिंग द इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन ऑफ इंडिया। So starting with this, what is cyber security? It is making cyberspace safe from threats, or you can say these are called as cyber threats. That is, they means the malicious use of ICT as target or as a tool by malevolent actors. Okay, so there are basically hackers, or there are actors who are using the cyberspace somehow to create threats, and that is called as cybersecurity. Basically, it involves three things: set of activities which are intended to what, see, cyber threats we have studied किस तरीके के threats होते हैं ना. What is cyber security? They are set of activities which are intended to protect computers, computer networks, related hardware and devices or software or information or any kind of data that they contain and communicate, including software and data, as well as other elements of cyberspace, from threats, including threats to national security. So, what is cyber security? In all, cyber security is those kind of activities which are intending to protect your computer networks, your any kind of information or data or any kind of software which is based on the use of ICT from any kind of external threat. That threat could be even threat to national security, and any associated field of research and analysis which is based on this, and implementing those activities and improving their quality is all about cyber security. Now we read that cyber security is making cyberspace free from threats, all these threats that we talked about. Now then the next question arises: what is cyberspace? So cyberspace is, it comprises of IT networks, computer resources, and all the other internet connected devices, whether it may be mobile or fixed. Also, it would constitute of all the other software, not just hardware, but software also, and the other elements of cyberspace or other information network. So basically, it is important to understand that a nation's cyberspace is a part of global cyberspace also. Anything we talk like to at present is not just limited to any particular country or any particular national domain. It is a global cyberspace also, because everything is globalized these days. Even everything on internet is globalized these days. So it is not just about national cyberspace, but it is a part of global cyberspace also, without any borders. We know that there's a lot of information and everything these days present on the internet, and even the hardware and the software that we import, they are also from outside only. So if a hacker might do this, okay, if a particular hacker has got wrong intentions, so, or if any particular company is established for this purpose to create cyber security threats, then that company may create some kind of malfunctioning in the hardware or the software, and those hardware and softwares are imported now because everything is globally so much interconnected. Most of our computer hardware or software are the ones which are not locally created. We are importing them from outside. So if a particular hacker has got wrong intention and wants to create cybersecurity threats towards another country, he could do some kind of malfunctioning in the hardware or software, and those we will import, and that might create a security situation for us. So basically, cyberspace, what we are talking about, which is the IT network, computer resources, software, any kind of information or data, or the interconnected devices, everything related to internet or use of ICT forms part of your cyberspace. And cyberspace is not just one nation's cyberspace. Nowadays, it is a kind of a global cyberspace without any borders, and that is the most important reason why the cybersecurity challenges are somehow becoming a threat to nations' security, because everything is globalized these days. This borderless cyberspace जो होता है, that is expanding exponentially with the increase of also one more technical advancement as far as internet is concerned, and that is called as Internet of Things. So everyone nowadays is aware of what is Internet of Things, and because of this technological evolution of Internet of Things, even more of globalization of cyberspace has taken place because of the advancement in this technology, which is called as Internet of Things. So even the internet penetration also has increased, and it has become borderless. Internet obviously is borderless, and internet penetration has taken into a huge space of our life after even the advancement of IoT, or you can say Internet of Things. So cyberspace is this, and it is the protection of this cyberspace only, which is called as the cyber security. So cyber security is basically the protection of cyberspace, and cyberspace हमने देखा कि it is not just one nation cyberspace, it is a forms part of global cyberspace after globalization of everything, even the cyberspace, even after the technological advancement such as internet और सब कुछ क्या हो गया है, globalized हो चुका है. तो ये एक बात है. It is also one of the reason why the international hackers and the international non-state actors are getting access to any nation's cyberspace also, because everything is globalized these days. Now, why is cyberspace as called as fifth dimension? So even after land, sea, air, and space, these days cyberspace has been officially declared as the fifth dimension of warfare by US and other NATO countries already, because of the increasing threats that we face every year on the cyberspace of different countries, that now even cyberspace has been declared as the fifth dimension of warfare. इतना security, international security का जो एक threat होता है different countries के बीच में, that has even taken hold of the cyberspace, and most of the threats that we are facing at present these days, it's just not limited to any kind of external security threat that we might face on land और सी पे जो फाइट होती है या एयर में या स्पेस में होती है, इट हैज आल्सो टेकन दी और इट हैज आल्सो टेकन दी होल्ड ऑफ साइबर स्पेस. तो बेसिकली जो आजकल साइबर अटैक्स या साइबर थ्रेट्स या साइबर अटैक्स हो रहे हैं डिफरेंट कंट्रीज के बीच में, वो इतना ज़्यादा हो रहा है कि इवन साइबर स्पेस हैज़ बीन डिक्लेयर्ड एज द फिफ्थ डायमेंशन ऑफ वॉरफेयर बाय मेनी कंट्रीज. सो नाउ दैट यू नो द इम्पोर्टेंस की साइबर सिक्योरिटी की एक तरीके से, या इंटरनेट सिक्योरिटी की आप कह सकते हो कि इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है. So now basically why it is important to India के लिए क्यों important है, because India में भी internet का penetration बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है, and most of the services which are provided by the government also, they are all getting digitalized these days, and India is building its e-services for the citizens, because ऐसे बहुत सारे remote areas हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे रिमोट या रूरल एरियाज है जहाँ पे अगर सर्विसेज का पेनिट्रेशन या पब्लिक सर्विस डिलीवरी करनी है, तो आपको ई सर्विसेज ही बनानी पड़ेगी. ई सर्विसेज मीन्स एनीथिंग दैट हैज गॉट डिजिटलाइज्ड, एनीथिंग व्हिच इज बेस्ड ऑन द इंटरनेट. तो इवन द सर्विसेज व्हिच आर द गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोवाइडिंग नाउडेज इवन इन इंडिया, एवरीथिंग हैज based on internet, everything is digitalized, and we are trying to provide internet based services as far as possible, because internet का penetration भी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया है इंडिया में, and to ताकि रूरल एंड रिमोट एरियाज भी कवर हो सके इन पर्टिकुलर, एंड पब्लिक सर्विस डिलीवरी रूरल एंड रिमोट एरियाज में पहुंच सके, इसलिए सारा कुछ ही आजकल डिजिटलाइज कर दिया गया है, एंड इंडिया इज बिल्डिंग हेवीली ऑन दिस टू digitalize all its services. And so that government has launched many portal, like whether it is e-government or e-commerce के थ्रू ज़्यादातर जो प्रोडक्ट्स या ज़्यादातर जो डिलीवरीज होती हैं वो सब e-commerce हो गया है. ठीक है, nobody wants to go to shops and buy these things. Most of the even the shopping and everything has been done online. So e-commerce का development हो गया, even e-health का establishment हो गया. They are all seen as enablers for development only, because कंट्री में इंटरनेट पेनिट्रेशन को रिमोट और रूरल एरियाज में पहुंचाना बहुत जरूरी है. उस इंटरनेट पेनिट्रेशन के बाद इंटरनेट के थ्रू सर्विसेज डिलीवरी करवाना बहुत जरूरी है. So that is why the government has developed such e-services, whether it is e-government, e-commerce, e-health, etc. And we have seen, कि जितना भी आधार वगैरह का भी जो भी काम होता है, it is everything is digitalized these days. आधार हो गया, माई गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल होते हैं बहुत सारे डिफरेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के, जहाँ पे डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ ई सर्विसेज होती हैं, अवेलेबल होती हैं. यू कैन अप्लाई फॉर एनी काइंड ऑफ गवर्नमेंट डॉक्यूमेंट्स दीज डेज. एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन. Okay, you can book a gas cylinder, you can order any kind of government scheme also. सर में रजिस्ट्रेशन वगैरह करना हो, किसी भी टाइप की गवर्नमेंट की कोई भी सर्विस चाहिए, whether it is related to any product or any particular service that you can access online these days. Even you want to apply for any healthcare scheme या कुछ भी है, या कोई भी टाइप के हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स लेने हैं, आजकल हर हॉस्पिटल की सारी जो भी हेल्थ केयर स्कीम्स है, सब कुछ हेल्थ केयर फैसिलिटीज हैं, दोज आर अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन. यू कैन बुक एन अपॉइंटमेंट ऑनलाइन, और सब कुछ आप ऑनलाइन कर सकते हो. ठीक है, थ्रू एंड वेरियस गवर्नमेंट्स हैव एस्टैब्लिश्ड माई गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल एंड एवरीथिंग, वेयर एवरीथिंग इज मेड ट्रांसपेरेंट. जितने भी गवर्नमेंट के स्कीम्स है, सर्विसेज है, सारा कुछ ही माई गवर्नमेंट, माई जीओवी पोर्टल टाइप की चीजें जो बनाई है गवर्नमेंट से, उसमें अवेलेबल होती हैं, एंड यू कैन एक्सेस दो सर्विसेज फ्रॉम देयर. आधार रिलेटेड सर्विसेज हो गई है, जितने भी गवर्नमेंट की नई स्कीम्स वगैरह आती है, उसमें आपको एनरोल करना है, वो सब कुछ आजकल ऑनलाइन हो चुका है. तो गवर्नमेंट इज ऑल्सो रिलाइंग मोर एंड मोर ऑन ई सर्विसेज, and that is also why cyber security is getting importance in India also. So cyber security threats or cyber attacks जो होते हैं, they emanate from a variety of sources, and they manifest themselves in disruptive activities that not only target individual level पे, जो हम cyber security threats face करते थे आज से कुछ साल पहले, कि हाँ हमें कोई बुली कर रहा है, कोई परेशान कर रहा है ऑनलाइन, या हमारे मैसेजेस का, या हमारे टिक्स का, या हमारे पर्सनल डाटा का मिसयूज होता था, वो भी एक्टिविटीज होती थी, वो इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे थी. बट नाउ द सोर्सेज आर गेटिंग वेराइड, एंड दे आर नॉट जस्ट टारगेटिंग इंडिविजुअल्स, बट दे आर ऑल्सो टारगेटिंग बिजनेसेस. ठीक है, किसी का बिजनेस में इकोनॉमिक फ्रॉड क्रिएट करना हो तो वो ऑनलाइन होता है आजकल. ठीक है, नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को भी टारगेट करते हैं. नेशनल जो क्रिटिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होता है गवर्नमेंट का, उसमें सारा जो डाटा होता है आजकल नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से रिलेटेड, वो सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है. तो इवन दीज ये जो साइबर अटैकर्स होते हैं, दे आर टारगेटिंग नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑल्सो, इंडस्ट्री एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स को भी टारगेट करते हैं, इवन दी गवर्नमेंट्स आर टारगेटेड. So that is how these attackers are spreading their tentacles, and they are affecting each one of these entities. Cybersecurity is seen as a latest entrant of security challenge, and since major critical infrastructure, even banking infrastructure जो भी होता है, ये banking related जितनी भी information है, each of these banking facilities are getting digitalized these days. Okay, whether it is related to online fund transfer activities or any kind of banking activity, if you even want to open an account, and all such things are getting digitalized. And जितनी भी बैंक से related information होती है, कि what is the banking position of a particular financial institution, उसमें कि वहाँ की branches क्या हैं, या anything related to any information, sensitive information that may be related to a particular, any private or sensitive information that may be related to any particular bank or any particular individual's bank account, that could be very easily gained अगर आप कोई बैंकिंग की वेबसाइट को हैक कर लो, या किसी पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल का अकाउंट हैक कर लो, तो आपको बहुत सारी ऐसी सेंसिटिव इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकती है, थ्रू विच यू कैन क्रिएट डिसरप्शन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सनस लाइफ, और इवन इन दी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की क्रिएट करके आप गवर्नमेंट को भी परेशान कर सकते हो. तो ऑल ऑफ दिस क्रिटिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो होता है, जिसमें बैंकिंग इंक्लूडेड होता है, डिफेंस रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन जो भी होते हैं, हमारे डिफेंस या मिलिट्री रिलेटेड इंस्टॉलेशन से रिलेटेड जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन होते हैं, कि हमारे पास कितना वेपन्स है, किस टाइप का वेपन्स, ऑब्वियसली दैट इज प्रमोटिंग आवर डिफेंस कैपेबिलिटीज. सो इफ द हैकर्स और द जो साइबर थ्रेट्स क्रिएट करते हैं, दे गेट एक्सेस टू सच डिफेंस रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ कंट्री, दैट वुड ऑब्वियसly be very counterproductive for the security situation of a country. So all such critical infrastructure related data is also present these days, that is also digitalized, and that is also one of the reason why cybersecurity is seen as one of the greatest security challenge. Law enforcement से related कोई भी information होती है, that is also present online. Security, public essential services and utilities जो होती हैं गवर्नमेंट की, उससे रिलेटेड इन्फॉर्मेशन भी आजकल ऑनलाइन होती है कि कौन सी पर्टिकुलर जगह पे कौन सी गवर्नमेंट की स्कीम ने क्या काम किया, क्या काम नहीं किया, एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन दीज डेज. सो इतना ज़्यादा जब डिजिटलाइजेशन हो चुका है, तो उसके बाद ऑब्वियसली साइबर सिक्योरिटी इज वन ऑफ द latest security challenges, you can say, and it is one of the most important security domains, because everything of this time shifting to the digital realm. What are the motives behind these cyber attacks? So basically मोटिव्स बहुत टाइप के होते हैं. कमर्शियल गेन भी हो सकता है, ठीक है, व्हेनेवर यू आर अटैकिंग एनी बिजनेस एंटिटी या बिजनेस या कॉर्पोरेट वेबसाइट वगैरह पे जब भी अटैक होता है, सो देयर दी मोटिव इज बेसिकली टू गेन कमर्शियल गेन ओनली बाय हैकिंग बैंक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, ओके, टू अटैक क्रिटिकल एसेट्स ऑफ अ नेशन. व्हेन यू आर अटैकिंग क्रिटिकल एसेट्स ऑफ अ नेशन, you will attack such critical infrastructure sites like defense sites को आप हैक करने की कोशिश करोगे, या एनर्जी या बैंकिंग रिलेटेड या इस तरीके की क्रिटिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को अटैक करोगे. टू पेनिट्रेट इनटू बोथ कॉर्पोरेट एंड मिलिट्री डाटा सर्वर्स टू ऑब्टेन प्लान्स एंड इंटेलिजेंस आल्सो, देन आल्सो यू कैन कैरी आउट सच साइबर अटैक्स. टू हैक साइट्स टू वायरली कम्युनिकेट अ मैसेज फॉर सम स्पेसिफिक कैंपेन, और फॉर एग्जांपल सपोजिटली जितने भी ये आपके terrorist groups होते हैं, not just terrorist groups, any extremist groups होते हैं, they are using the medium of fake news and such other mediums or social media का misuse करके they are trying to communalize a particular issue or to create or disturb the security situation of a country by communalizing a particular issue, या कोई fake news sensitive news फैला के किसी एक particular community के दूसरे community कर दिया, या कोई एक पर्टिकुलर स्पेसिफिक कैंपेन आप प्रमोट करते हो, तो अगर आपको किसी एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी को आइडियोलॉजी के लिए आपको मोटिवेट करना है, सो ऑल दैट इज डन थ्रू सोशल मीडिया और ऑनलाइन मीडियम्स दीज डेज. सो बेसिकली अगर पॉलिटिक्स इफ यू हैव एनीथिंग दैट इज स्पेसिफिक कैंपेन रिलेटेड टू पॉलिटिक्स, इफ यू हैव टू अफेक्ट अ पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी, तो उसको भी आप कैरी आउट करने के लिए आजकल ये साइबर अटैक्स वगैरह करने की कोशिश करते हैं, सो दैट the society can get polarized. तो इस तरीके के डिफरेंट ये मोटिव्स होते हैं बिहाइंड द साइबर अटैक्स, दैट मे रेंज फ्रॉम कमर्शियल मोटिव्स to even affecting the security or sovereignty of a particular nation, to gain access to corporate or military data, or to communalize or polarize a society. तो ये सारे डिफरेंट मोटिव्स होते हैं बिहाइंड कैरिंग आउट दीज डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ साइबर अटैक्स. Now, after studying down, now we will read about the types of cyber attacks, or you can say the cyber crimes. कि cyber crimes होते कितने टाइप के हैं. तो basically ये just different types of जो cyber attacks होते हैं, that may range from malware to phishing, denial of service attacks. Okay, malware क्या होता है? It is you can say it is stand short for malicious software. It refers to any kind of software that is designed to cause damage to a single computer, server और कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क. तो जितने भी टाइप की चीजें हम पढ़ते रहते हैं, लाइक रैंसमवेयर, स्पाईवेयर, वॉर्म्स, वायरसेस एंड ट्रोजन्स, दे आर ऑल वेराइटीज इन मैलवेयर. तो अगर हम पढ़ते हैं कि जैसे हमने पढ़ा कि लास्ट ईयर एक WannaCry टाइप का या पीटीआर टाइप का एक रैंसमवेयर अटैक हुआ था, तो बेसिकली व्हाट इज दैट इज ऑल इंक्लूडेड इन मालवेयर अटैक्स. ओके, या वॉर्म्स या एनी काइंड ऑफ वायरस या वॉर्म्स के थ्रू जब आप अटैक करते हो किसी कंप्यूटर सिस्टम को, दे आर ऑल the varieties of malware. Phishing, what is phishing? It is also a kind of a cyber attack or a cyber crime. It is a method of trying to gather personal information using deceptive emails and websites. इस टाइप की चीजें हम फेस करते हैं इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे बहुत ज्यादा. हमें कभी कभी स्पैम्स या डिसेप्टिव ईमेल्स आते हैं विच माइट उनका मोटिव होता है टू गेन पर्सनल बैंकिंग अकाउंट इंफॉर्मेशन और अदर सच पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन, या टू हैक आर एनी सोशल मीडिया वेबसाइट वगैरह को हैक करने के लिए वैसे टाइप के फिशिंग वगैरह मेथड यूज होते हैं. देन डिनाइल ऑफ सर्विस अटैक क्यों यूज होता है, और डॉस अटैक. इट इज एन अटैक व्हिच इज मेंट टू शट डाउन अ मशीन और अ नेटवर्क, okay, making it inaccessible to its intended users, and it is accomplished by to flooding that particular target which or the computer system which you are trying to attack, to flood that computer system with the traffic or sending information that triggers a crash. So these are the different kinds of cyber attacks or cyber crimes which are carried out by the cyber criminals. Man in the middle attacks भी होते हैं, which are known as eavesdropping attack, when attackers insert themselves into a two-party transaction. Once the attackers interrupt the traffic, they can filter and steal data. Then SQL injection is also kind of a cyber attack which is done on databases of a particular computer. So एक database जो एक होता है proper like DBMS एक database है, इस टाइप का बहुत ज़्यादा high quantity of data present होता है. अगर आपको किसी database network को attack करना है तो आप SQL injection का use करते हो. So this is a different kind of a cyber attack. Then other kinds of cyber attack are like identity theft. Okay, you are stealing an identity of a particular person and then misusing it for ulterior purposes. That is identity theft. Child pornography, cyber bullying वगैरह का use होता है basically to create a kind of a pressure on someone to for your own purpose. Cyber bullying वगैरह का use होता है to threaten that person, saying that we will misuse your photos or other kind of sensitive information or sensitive data, and then to create a pressure or force that person to do something what you want them to do. That is called as a means of cyber bullying, when you are pressurizing or forcing a person, threatening that person to indulge in some kind of activity. That is called as a cyber bullying by the use of photos or other sensitive information. Child pornography बहुत ज़्यादा prevalent है आजकल, ठीक है. देन आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट हमने देखा कि एक तरीके का साइबर अटैक है जहाँ पे यू आर स्टीलिंग एन आइडेंटिटी ऑफ समवन एंड देन यूजिंग इट फॉर अदर अल्टीरियर पर्पसेस. What is social engineering? Social engineering is also considered a kind of a cyber attack. It relies on human interaction. Like for example, to trick the users into breaking security procedures, to gain sensitive information that is typically protected. So basically, social engineering will be that, for example, you are using internet on your computer or any other thing. Okay, so social engineering is gaining access to the kind of activities that you are doing on internet. जो बिहेवियरल पैटर्न है आपका, वो आपके इंटरनेट यूसेज से पता लगाया जा सकता है कि व्हाट आर द काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स यू लाइक, what are the kind of products you buy, what are the kind of websites you visit, what is your basically interest, and आपका behavioral approach क्या है वो पता चल जाता है by your internet usage. Okay, so gaining access to that, and then जो आपने ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन रखा है अपना इंटरनेट पे, उसके थ्रू सिक्योरिटी का ब्रीच करना जिसको कहते हैं, एंड टू गेन एक्सेस टू सेंसिटिव इंफॉर्मेशन बेस्ड ऑन योर social interests, based on your social interest, that is called as social engineering. And to try to gain access to that sensitive information based on your social interests or based on any kind of human interaction that you do on internet, that is called as social engineering, and it is also considered as one of the kind of cyber attacks. What are the latest cases that we have read about these cyber attacks in the recent times? One is WannaCry. So it was a ransomware attack. We have seen that any kind of ransomware attacks and all are all counted under malware attacks. So ransomware attack that spread rapidly in May 2017. Ransomware, what it did, it logged users' devices and it prevented them from accessing data and software until a certain ransom was paid to the criminals. Okay, that is why it is named as ransomware. एक particular group of computers को attack करा था, and its condition was that those users and devices were hacked and they were logged, and those users could not access the data and software until they paid a certain ransom to the criminals who had undertaken this kind of a ransomware attack. That is why it is called as WannaCry. तो इस तरीके का एक अटैक हुआ था. Then एक Mirage करके एक अटैक हुआ था, which is also called as botnet attack. What is actually Mirage? It is a malware that infects smart devices that run on ARC processors, turning them into a network of remotely controlled bots or zombies. These network of bots which is called as botnet, that is also launched to carry out the DOS attack. DOS attack हमने देखा इस तरीके का cyber attack होता है where you are flooding a computer system with lot of unnecessary traffic. You are flooding a computer system or machine with lot of unnecessary traffic, एंड जिससे क्या होता है कि एक इंफॉर्मेशन जो होती है एक क्रैश हो जाता है सिस्टम में, बिकॉज यू आर फ्लडिंग इट विद लॉट ऑफ अननेसेसरी ट्रैफिक. तो एक इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिल पाती है, एक्सेस नहीं मिल पाता, बिकॉज दैट जनरेट्स अ क्रैश. एक DOS अटैक उस टाइप का होता है. And this Mirage was also a kind of promoted such kind of DOS attack only. Mirage malware launched a DDoS attack on the website of a well-known security expert. Well-known security expert की website पे आपने DDoS attack कर दिया, obviously to gain so that that particular person is not able to gain information which it wants to gain. तो इस तरीके के attacks, इस तरीके के जो latest cases हैं, these are examples of the latest cyber crime or you can say cyber attacks which have happened in our own country. WannaCry का हमने देखा कि it was a called a kind of ransomware attack where the person attacked users and they blocked users devices, and that prevented them from accessing data and software until a particular ransom was paid. This was one kind of a recent cyber attack, and the other was this Mirage botnet जहाँ पे DOS attack हुआ था, जो हमने previously discuss किया कि वो क्या होता है, and it was done on the website of a well-known security expert. तो ये हमने डिफरेंट पर्टिकुलर लेक्चर में हमने मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के टॉपिक के बाद भी took up this topic of cyber security, and we discussed certain basic fundamentals regarding cyber security और internet security की क्या होता है, cyber space क्या होता है, किस तरीके से cyber space local नहीं रह गया है, it is expanding up to global level. Importance क्या है cyber security की, because India is heavily investing its e-services, and हम सारी services को आजकल digitalize कर रहे हैं so that the development can reach even the rural and the remote areas. Then we studied motives behind cyber attacks कि क्या होते हैं, commercial gains भी होते हैं, ये भी होता है कि to attack critical assets of a nation, which is obviously impacting the sovereignty and security of a nation. देन कॉर्पोरेट और मिलिट्री डाटा पे भी अटैक होता है थ्रू दी साइबर क्रिमिनल्स, और सोसाइटी पे भी अटैक होता है. इस तरीके की हमने डिफरेंट चीजें देखी कि बेसिकली इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है साइबर सिक्योरिटी की, एंड व्हाट आर द काइंड ऑफ मोटिव्स बिहाइंड सच साइबर अटैक्स. देन वी सॉ द टाइप्स ऑफ साइबर अटैक्स और क्राइम्स की. DOS अटैक होता है, फिशिंग है, मालवेयर अटैक है, ये सारी चीजें, आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट, चाइल्ड पोर्नोग्राफी वगैरह, साइबर, these are all different kinds of cyber attacks which have been carrying out by this. Then we studied about social engineering, और हमने दो latest cases पढ़े cyber attacks के in our country. Now we will be taking or you continuing with this topic in our next lecture. Thank you so much.